This is a Soundchat exclusive. Wicked, Chin, wicked.
Caller, you are live.
What's up, man? How is it?
What up, man? What's good, son?
I'm working.
Now, those of you may not recognize the voice, and purposely, caller, no one knows who I'm talking to right now because I decided not to let anyone know. I want to have a conversation with you and not reveal who I'm talking to right now. Can we do that? Just have a conversation without letting people know. So you don't say your name. Don't say the title of any of your songs. I want to see how sharp these people are who listen to Soundchat Radio on a Tuesday, and if they'll be able to pick up your voice or pick up, you know, the happenings in your career. Right? Now.
Yeah, definitely. Right.
All right, so here it is. Can't call your name, so my brother that I haven't seen in a long time. What's been going on?
Work, man. Just been putting on new stuff. You know what I mean? Been traveling the world. You know, been doing new videos, been tearing up the charts.
Now, speaking of new videos, I heard that one of your videos got banned from Jamaica, had to be pulled off the TV.
Right.
Now,
a certain video was banned because it was too explicit, but there wasn't anything explicit in it. You know what I mean? But the views on YouTube and everything else is crazy.
So let me ask you this, man. How do you feel about that whole thing with the Broadcasting Commission now saying no females gyrating in the videos, them, and no sexy shorts and no revealing clothing? How does that affect some of those, you know, hot videos that you put out there?
I mean, honestly, it hardly affects what I do because thank God for technology. You know what I mean? YouTube is where it's at now. Young people and the youth growing up is basically all on YouTube, and that's the market that I want my stuff to reach out to and where I want it to go. So YouTube is working for me. I mean, I'd love for all of Jamaica to be able to see my stuff, but at the end of the day, every other country it gets played in, everywhere else it's being played on the TV. So it not being played on the TV here is just an unfortunate situation, but it's nothing great that I go out of my way and get mad over because thank God for YouTube. It's working, so. But I mean, they damaging our culture, man. You know what I mean? Because we are about women gyrating themselves. You know what I mean? That's why we have carnival. That's why we have dancehall. That's what dancehall is about.
What has been the response with some of your colleagues as well, some of the other artists that you've been talking to that's, you know, that also had songs banned because videos banned? Is it, you know, or is everyone in Jamaica, you know, your artist friend, them, I said, yo, forget about that now gonna hurt me? Or is there some sense of concern amongst your dancehall colleagues that, you know, this thing can just lead from banning of videos to now banning of songs on the radio to banning of this to banning of that? What's the concern there in Jamaica?
Well, I mean, there's a concern, you know what I mean, for sure, because this is the base, you know what I mean. This is basically where we lay our foundation, and you know, as much as everything is happening great for us outside of Jamaica and everywhere else, you always want your base to be good, you know what I mean. You want to have a firm base and a firm foundation, and that helps to devalue our foundation in the sense where why is it the people that is supporting us the most can't hear us or can't listen to us or see us, but those who are far away can. But the greatest thing is the younger generation of our days now here in Jamaica, everybody's trying to have a BlackBerry, everybody's trying to have a Galaxy and iPhone, so everybody's in tune with YouTube. So it has its advantages and it has disadvantages, but the greatest thing is people find their way to get to it. Once they want it, they get to it, and that's what I've gotten to realize.
Will you change some of your videos? Like, will you do an edit for YouTube as well as an edit for TV, or are you just gonna say, yo, sure, forget about Jamaica and them TV thing. May I do my thing, and this is what dancehall represents, and this is what I'm gonna continue to feature?
Well, to be honest with you, I've done some edits to videos before that I've done, you know, for TV purposes. It wasn't a decision of mine. It was a decision of the whole management team sat down and they thought it was necessary because of a lot of changes, features and certain stuff. They thought it was necessary for people to now see that visual of me on the local TV. But I personally wouldn't, basically because I would be lying to myself. Dancehall and our culture is whining, and if you cannot accept our culture and you don't appreciate our culture, then that's going to be wrong. And if I'm going to do that, edit my video to succumb to society and say, oh, that means I don't appreciate my culture and I'm not being a true Jamaican and true to myself, and I will never bow. I believe in Jamaica and I believe in everything about Jamaica's culture and our ancestors and traditions, and I will embrace it and keep pushing with it forward.
So you're willing to take any repercussion that may happen based on you not willing to divert from what you see is right and what you see is upholding the culture. So bans from TV, bans from radio, you're willing to go through all of that just to prove that you are, you know, locked in with the culture.
Yeah, I'm willing, you know what I mean? There are a lot of people out there right now, a lot of even entertainers are not willing, but this is one thing I've always learned. When you stand for something, you need to show you stand for it. Don't just say it, but show it. This is how people take you seriously. And I will dominate the airways and I will dominate the TV without editing those things, because I'm still doing interviews every single day in Jamaica on the television. And I mean, I'm still there. You know, you probably don't see a video, but you're seeing a photo of me, you're seeing something live of me. So at the end of the day, I will continue to embrace my culture and embrace it in the best way that I know it and I was brought up to embrace it. I won't succumb.
Without a doubt, you are hot right now, right? You are again. You are again, because there were one time when you kind of disappeared to deal with certain things, of course, and I don't want to reveal what that is because then people will know who I'm talking to too early. But there was a time when you kind of took a pause, but you're back again and you're hot. You have at least, you know, 2 or 3 songs that's really bubbling. Based on what my staff is telling me, that Trinidad is definitely feeling a lot of your music right now, and some other Caribbean islands are doing as well, right? What do you think brought about this change? How did you just get hot again, just like that? What was the ingredients? Did you just decide to become serious about your craft? Did you just put more people around you, or how comes you are just hot now, out of the blue?
Well, honestly, what it is, it's I was always serious, but sometimes it is finding your place. You know, in music, every single artist has a space, and this is why I always say no artist need to fight against artists for food or for money, because we all have our space within the music. And it was about finding my right space and where I needed to be, and that's what happened. I took a break. We went on the short shoulder. We watched how the cars were moving, and we decided, how will we cross the road?
See.
What are you going to do to cross that road? And then you decide when is the right time to move again, how you're going to approach it and stuff like that. And that's exactly what we did. And we realized we were right. You know, people were in a happy mood, people were in this frenzy, and I'm about happiness and love and stuff like that. And I decided to embrace this, and so I embraced it, and it worked. And actually, I've had less people now around me, because before it was like a massive entourage. Now it's just probably me and a few persons around me, and I keep it that way. It keeps me more focused, it keeps me more grounded, and you have less people around you telling you everything you do is great. When you can have somebody around you that tell you what you're doing is not right, that's the best thing, because at least it gives you an opportunity to look back and reflect and see how you can best change. So this is what has brought me back to the forefront.
From your perspective, where do you feel that the current state of dancehall? Is it in a good place? Is it in a bad place? Or is it in the middle, like in the middle of nowhere?
Dancehall is definitely in a good space, I must say. I say this without a doubt, because the BET Awards, for instance, has shown, Kanye West album has shown, you know, Nicki Minaj and Busta Rhymes, etc. has shown. It probably is not one of our strongest time, but better days lie ahead. You know, I am here as somebody coming from the generation now to come and embrace it, and we have loads of other artists from the generation coming to embrace it. So it's in a good space. You know, we just need people to focus and do what is necessary. But the people who are damaging dancehall is not the entertainers, and it's not the media. It is the broadcasting commission and the government and these people who don't do anything for music and who only keep banning what our music is about.
He has one of the hottest records right now. I'm talking to him on the phone. The number in studio, of course, is 973-494-0851. Now, known him for quite some time. He started his career at a very early age. And I have to ask this question. This is definitely a question that my whole camp wanted to ask you once we got you on the phone. And I think you would be the best to answer this particular question. How well do you think Jamaica nurtures the young talent coming out of the country? When we say Jamaica, you know, we're talking about the artists, the industry, the government. Do they nurture? Do you think that they do a good job at nurturing a youth when this just get up and decide, say, yo, I want to be an artist? The word is embracing, right, Banky? Banky wants to, how well do they do of embracing young talent in Jamaica? Do they do a good job? Do they do a great job? Or do they do a very poor job at embracing people who start their careers from a young age?
Well, I mean, honestly, I must say, you know, over the years, the fans, definitely, I must say the fans have been great. And they are great to young artists. You know what I mean? Because they give you a listening ears and they've given you an opportunity. Even if the fans decide that one day they're no longer a fan of you, I would definitely blame that on fans that could never complain and say they haven't been great. But when it comes down to the government and other entertainers, I would say the government is basically as any other government. They're just users. They have no care for the young talent, the young industry, because, as you know, Jamaica doesn't have a youth industry or a youth market like how in America you have Justin Bieber and younger people in catalog, and then you have Kanye West and those in the bigger catalogs. Jamaica doesn't have that. And so coming into this and creating that avenue, I was pressured a lot. There was instances where the government wanted me to stop perform because they felt me being up 2 o'clock in the night or so, or me getting paid to perform, it was classified something else. But at the end of the day, they didn't do anything to support that movement. They were more there to deter it. In the sense of fellow entertainers now, there were few entertainers who would see me and say, you're doing a good work, you would keep it up. But it was more like, the treatment was more like another man artist, you know. It wasn't as a youth. They were treating me more like a man, like, you think me I make him go up on stage before me? You think me I make no you come mash up no show before me, I mash up no show and me can't mash it over. It was like, it was a competition thing. I
ask you this because, of course, when we look at young artists who start their career at a young age, such as maybe like a look of Bow Wow then, you know what I mean, or as a Justin Bieber, as what you spoke about, there are, you know, things put in place for them to pretty much get homeschooling or on the road tutoring, or it's like the industry comes together and say, listen, we have this young person, they are very talented, they may be a real big star and may be profitable to a lot of us in the industry. So instead of us restricting this person and saying that he's too young to do what it is that he's doing, let's make sure that he goes on the road with a tutor then. Let's make sure that, you know, his grades is up to par and he's getting that homeschooling and counseling and whatever is needed at the same time that he's, you know, performing and pursuing his goal. In Jamaica, what we've noticed is that there's very few artists that make it famous from a young age. Almost none, like, that really stand out there. You might get one young artist will come up with a hot tune, but Jamaica does nothing to say, this youth have promised, and we're gonna make him the next Justin Bieber, we're gonna make him the next Bow Wow or whatever it is. Instead, Jamaica turns around and says, well, that is child abuse, that is this, that is that, and this artist should not perform anymore because he is 3 years old, or he's 10 years old, or he's, you know, 12 years old, and that is against the labor laws of Jamaica, right? So that's the reason why we wanted to ask you, because you are one that came through those channels, and you could be best to talk about the pressures that you faced as a young artist coming up. By the way, those of you who are listening, I am speaking to QQ, one of Jamaica's youngest stars, right, of modern day times, or probably Jamaica's only star of modern day times, right? And I'm gonna play some music for you guys. Please hold on, QQ. I want to finish the conversation with you, but to those who may not be familiar with your name, gonna give them some of the hits that you made along the way as you rose to become. How old are you now?
I'm 19 years
You're
old.
not even 20 yet. And you started, what, about 10 years ago?
That's right.
10 years ago. So you started at the age of 9, right?
That's
so
right.
Let's take the journey of where QQ is coming from so people can understand, and we'll talk a little bit more about the challenges of being a youth, a over-talented artist in Jamaica and still being a youth.
Definitely.
Mr. Watkins, if we move them ways. This is the brand new dance and you stop them. I will stop them so easy. So what am I do so far? I want to cast them. And the brand new dance name stuck here run past them. So QQ, what will come first? So when them come, dead last.
And this we all say. What you gonna say, what you gonna do?
Stooky.
What you gonna say, what you gonna do?
Stooky.
What you gonna say, what you gonna do?
Stooky.
What you gonna say, what you gonna do?
Stooky.
I like the way you move. I like the way you groove. I like the way you set me on fire.
He's on the phone lines calling from Jamaica.
And see the multitudes. He went up in
This is the first actual QQ song that I heard.
when he was set.
It was played by Ricky Trooper at the time.
And he opened his mouth and thought himself.
How old were you at the time, QQ? How old were you when
When
you
I did
sang the song?
Poverty,
It was
when I did Poverty, I was 10 years old because that's when I broke the record, you know. I broke the record as the youngest person in Jamaica to have a hit song, taking it from Dennis Brown.
wow. Song is called Poverty. Those of you who are listening, tell a friend to tell a friend that Chin is talking to Jamaica's current youngest star. He goes by the name of QQ. This is his first hit record.
His disciples came on to him, and he opened his mouth and thought himself, hey, Jay, poverty, hey, Jay, that one ya name poverty, hey, Jay, that one ya name poverty, hey, Jay, that one ya name poverty, poverty, hey, Jay, that one ya name poverty, hey, Jay, that one ya name poverty, hey, Jay, that one ya name poverty. Tell me how it feels. Say no, say the youth no have no meal. That's why him end up gang.
It's the voice of QQ.
Never said no.
He's on the phone line, bringing to you a musical journey of how young this youth started his career. He did it at the age of 10, taking the torch from Dennis Brown, as he said, to be the youngest artist in Jamaica to have a hit song.
Yo, hey Southside, yo TG, yo Jungle, hey Rima, yo Bakto, yo Parkland gal dem, hey Waterhouse, 100 Spanish Town, mommy tell a gal dem, nothing no bad like ghetto gal, when ghetto gal a juke, ghetto gal no fira.
It's the video, it's the song. The video was banned in Jamaica, right? Because you had all of these young girls in the video. They were dressed like how, you know, the females dress in Jamaica. And as, you know, the Broadcasting Commission terms it, gyrating to your song. And it's just something that I guess they don't want to uphold anymore in Jamaica. I want to go back, QQ, and let people appreciate your journey. Give people a visual understanding of your journey coming from a young artist. Hold the hot song for 1 second, Banky. Right? Coming from a young artist who started at 10, right? There was a time in Jamaica where it was like, you know, you were under pressure, your dad was under pressure because the government was trying to stop you from being the artist that you were trying to be, because they were saying that, yo, you should be in school and you should not be performing. How pressuring was that to you in the in those early days of your career?
I mean, it was very pressuring because at the end of the day, you know what I mean, you see your dream in front of you, and every child has a dream. And one thing that I appreciate even about the United States of America and the UK, it tells you you have a dream, believe in it, and work hard, and you can be successful. And, you know, after working so hard, it's like the government is just going to come in to tell you, listen, you can't perform no more, you have to wait till you reach 18, you can't this, you can't that. And I'm like, but nothing that I'm doing is outrageous. Everything works with the age group. You know what I mean? The kids are listening to me. I've been a role model for them. I've been doing everything right. So why is it? And their reason is just that they don't want me to be out at night. I should be in school. I am in school. I have great grades. So what is the problem? But they were just finding every single way to fight it. But they've never seen something like this in Jamaica. A youth star that at a tender age is serious about it. Over the years, we've heard about other youth stars, but either after a certain years they stop or they never get recognition until they became an adult. But I did it at a tender age and I maintained it, and they were like, this is not a reality. What? So they've never been used to this, and they just was trying to stop it. But at the end of the day, it was pressuring, and we were very confident in what we were doing. We were very focused, and we just asked the Almighty to keep us.
What was the biggest threat that they gave you, to encourage you to stop? What was one of the penalties that they told you that they would put in place if you didn't stop performing, at the dance halls at 2 o'clock in the morning and so forth?
No, basically they were telling me if I was seen at an event, after a certain hours, they would even have my dad arrested and have me removed out of the venue. At one point they were telling me that they could take me into custody if they feel that my parent is not being fit enough. You know what I mean? They tell me they could charge my dad if I'm getting paid for events. But I was saying, just like in America, when you do an event, I couldn't get paid. I'm under 18. It would have to go to an adult. So I'm not literally being paid. But they were just finding different means and ways to stop something progressive. But
how did you overcome? How did you overcome it? Is that one of the reasons why you took a break from the industry for a little while?
Break was because of school. But I never fear what the government was saying to me. I believe in being a revolutionist, and I believe in fighting for what's right and what you believe in. You know what I mean? You believe in your dreams. I feel you must work hard to it. You know what I mean? There was a time where the Ministry of Education had me going into schools and talking to kids and saying, when you have a dream, you must fight hard for that dream. So why is it that I would give up on my dream because the government is fighting me? I had to find different means and ways of how to get around it. And what I did was to make sure, okay, any show I'm doing, I try to do day shows. You know what I mean? I try to do a lot of charity work then, since that they don't want me to get paid. But I tried to do everything to maintain my presence. You know what I mean? I went to school. I got my CXC to come out and prove, say, okay, you say I should be in school? Okay, that's all my subjects. All did, all got. So what are you saying now?
Well, you're 19 now, and you're making hits. So it wasn't a fluke. Poverty wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a gimmick that you were a young artist, and just because you were a young artist, you were appealing to the masses, because you are still making hit songs, right? Talk to me about the song that I'm about to play, which is one of your current hits right now that seems to be doing very well in the dance house internationally, called One Drop.
Right. Well, I mean, One Drop, the idea came about so crazy, you know what I mean? In December, I heard the Idonia, the reading for Pandit Jackie, and I decided, you know what, I love this beat. The beat is right. I tried to find Steve, and I couldn't get to him, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to get this. And me and Pop sit down, we talk, and he said to me, that Stashman, the producer, they tell me to link her. We went and we linked her, and she's like, all right, then I will give her the idea, and she said, all right, she called in the engineer. I would just knock it on the spot and voice it on the spot, you know what I mean? And I said, listen, boom, we started promoting the track, not knowing it was going to be this powerful. I went off to New York, was in New York for 2 weeks. When I came back from New York, it was the biggest song in the country. Before I went to New York, it was getting played in Canada. And before I went to New York, Get a Girl was #1 in Trinidad. When I came back from New York, Get a Girl was #2 in Trinidad. One Drop was #1 in Trinidad. One Drop was #1 in Canada. One Drop was #1 in Jamaica. And it was just going crazy. And I was just like, wow. This is huge, you know what I mean? And I saw the potential of the song, and since then I've just been promoting it more, working hard on it more. I go off to the U.S. for Labor Day weekend just to be there to even promote the song some even more.
The song is called One Drop. I'm about to play it for you guys. If you're just joining us, I'm talking to QQ, who is now 19 years old, who's been in the industry for 10 years. His first hit song was called Poverty at the age of 10. He has overcome a lot of pressures and obstacles in the industry because of his age and his pursuit to become an artist. At one time, Jamaica was saying he was breaking the labor laws. His family was breaking the labor laws, and they pretty much tried to put him out of commission, saying that, he's too young to earn as an artist and too young to be in dance halls. Well, now it's 10 years later, and he has a brand new song. Well, it's not brand new, but it's his most current song, and it is topping many of the charts throughout the Caribbean. It's called One Drop.
Yo, QQ, Venomous. The girl them have a new dance. When me am One Drop. Yo, every gala, every gala, every gala, every gala, every gala, every gala, every gala. Yo, stash man. Every gala when I do the one drop. Everybody live and do the one drop. Drop, 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 one drop. Every gala when I do the one drop. Everybody right and do the one drop. Drop, 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 drop.
QQ. Definitely so good talking to you, man. I know that we have so much to catch up on. I'm wishing you all the best of luck. I know that your journey was rough, but it's good to know that after all, 10 years, you are still making songs that people are listening to. And the fact that they can make it to the top of the charts definitely has to be a plus, man. You're doing good things. And I would hope that the obstacles that you went through for the last 10 years has made you a stronger individual as well as a stronger artist.
Definitely. Thank you very much, man. And it has, life experiences we learn from them. And it's one thing I never regret is experiencing, because unless you experience, you can't learn.
Definitely say, hail up pops for me, man. Big up to GQ, big up to yourself, big up to your whole team, man. And hopefully, we can catch up and keep making some good music, man. Give thanks, yes, sir?
Yes, man. Give thanks again. And no respect, man.
Give thanks.